Good morning, Bucknutters. It's Thursday, June 9th, 2016. I'm Dan Rubin. This is the Bucknuts Morning 5 and Change. If it's Thursday, that can mean only one thing. Steve Wiltfong, Director of Recruiting from 24/7 Sports, is taking time out of his busy day to join us. Steve, how are you on what is going to be one of the most beautiful days in the Midwest of the entire year?
Good morning, Daniel. I'm going to be spending most of it in a car, driving from Indianapolis to Detroit. Sound Mind, Sound Body gets rolling in the city of Detroit, the third stop of the Sound Mind, Sound Body circuit. I got to see Coach Stud in Houston. He was at the Sound Mind, Sound Body in Houston earlier this week, but headed up to Detroit today for Friday's camp, which is always a loaded affair.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. And I think I speak for everyone when I say, when it's a beautiful day, what else is there to do besides drive from Indianapolis to Detroit? But I digress. I'm not even going to read down the list, but can you explain to me why this camp gets literally an all-star list of head coaches, among them your trio, your Meyer, Harbaugh, D'Antonio trio, but also Darrell Hayes will be there, Brian Kelly will be there, Mike Riley, Kevin Wilson, Dino Babers. Why is this camp so popular?
Well, this camp has a track record for having most of the best players in the Midwest, plus they always do a good job of bringing in out-of-state talent. Last year, Benjamin Victor was one of the big-time out-of-state guys that was at the camp. It's an opportunity for head coaches this year. Donovan Peoples-Jones is certainly the marquee guy, the nation's number one receiver, according to 24/7 Sports, the five-star recruit. Will be there among others. So head coaches will get a chance to, bump into them, people coach them up and, get some interaction. So it's a no-brainer event. It's easy to get to.
A very impressive list. Steve will be back with bells on. Complete list of that. We mentioned D'Antonio. We mentioned Meyer. Those two could be battling it out for a certain Ohioan down the stretch. There was a time when even discussion of that would be blasphemy, but now Michigan State has improved its profile to the point where they can get into these occasional tussles for an Ohioan. Give us the latest on Coleraine defensive back Amir Riep. Good Lord, I knew I was going to blow that up. Amir Riep, in your opinion.
Amir Riep is the number 3 player in Ohio, according to the 24/7 Sports composite, the number 8 corner in the nation per 24/7 Sports, a top 100 recruit. The 24/7 Sports crystal ball is 95% Ohio State, 5% Michigan State. My pick is one of the 95%. I'm in the majority. But I could easily see him pick the Spartans. It's definitely a two-way battle. Both teams have made a great case to Amir and his folks. I'm hearing Amir's parents may prefer Ohio State, but Amir's certainly high on both. That doesn't mean Amir's parents don't like Michigan State. I just think, when you grow up an Ohio State fan, you live in the state, it's an exciting opportunity. That's what I'm told. Who knows how accurate that is? I think that's a pretty good source that told me that. Amir's a difference maker all over the field on the prep level. He's got some big time ability. And I think he was his conference player of the year this past year on the defensive side of the football. Wouldn't be surprised if he picked Michigan State, still riding with Ohio State. I don't think anyone else is in play, even though he's got close to 50 offers. 2-team race. Alabama's recently gotten into the mix.
Florida State. Big timers. So timetable-wise, though, he was one of those guys that was put on, not commitment watch, but when we would have the standard recruiting guide discussion of who's next, he came up a lot, and nothing's happened.
Well, I think that shows how close it is. At one point, Amir told me he was 90% sure he knew where he was going. I don't think that's the case anymore. I assumed it was Ohio State then. He's been to Michigan State since saying that. So I do think it's tight. Amir and his family's done such a great job of getting him to so many schools. He's going to be able to make an informed decision before senior year if he wants to. That's always been the plan. So we'll see what happens. He certainly could take this into the fall if he can't make a decision and take some officials. He's got that kind of juice, but I think he still wants to be off the board before his senior year. I haven't heard otherwise anyways.
Okay. I need you to counsel me here. I have to decide whether I'm going to put my heart into another massive defensive tackle recruiting scenario here. They usually end up going to LSU, and I'm crying in my coffee. But Bellaire, Texas, Episcopal defensive tackle Marvin Wilson will go to Ohio State next week. 6'4", 329 pounds. This is the player plugger type, the one prospect Ohio State or prospect type Ohio State has not been able to hook in the Meyer era. 5-star prospect, number 3 overall. Should I get my hopes up?
Well, I think Ohio State's obviously going to try and make a move. They're not in the lead group when you're talking Alabama, Florida State, LSU. Then you got Oklahoma and Texas in the mix as well. But Marvin Wilson he's a kid that I think is going to like Ohio State. Right now you're just trying to get in there and get them to come back for an official and see that the need at your place, your high-profile program, is bigger than the need at the other high-profile programs that you're considering, I've been impressed with the type of young man Marvin is in my interaction with him. He's a good kid. I do think he's going to give Ohio State a legitimate look, and we'll see what happens from there. The guy that we're not talking about enough, and I noticed in Bill's story, Bill reported that Bill Kierlich, Bucknuts insider, reported that Walker Little, Marvin's teammate from Bellaire, Episcopal in Texas, is also joining. He ranks as the number 12 offensive tackle per 24/7 Sports, nation's number 58 player overall, number 6 player in Texas. I talked to a couple high-profile offensive line coaches while I've been out at these Sound Minds, Sound Bodies and other camps, and his name comes up as an elite guy. So there may not be 12 guys better than him at offensive tackle. Ohio State's got 2 really good ones in Josh Myers and
Jake Moretti.
And from Texas, Jake Moretti, U.S. Army All-American.
Colorado.
He could play all three positions across the front. Did I not say Colorado?
I said Texas. It's all right. We got Marvin Wilson.
Yeah.
Right?
Jake Moretti, recruited by Tony Alford from Colorado, U.S. Army All-American, could play all 3 positions there across the front. Maybe even a better prospect than Myers. They're both big time. But this Walker Little guy's in that same discussion, from what I understand, when you start talking to some of the best offensive line coaches in the country. So look for Ohio State to try and make just as big an impression on him as they do Marvin.
I was just looking at this. Marvin Wilson and Walker Little are coming out together, and the 2 of them combined weigh 634 pounds. So we can take 3 safeties or the 2 of them. Well, anyway, we digress. Steve will be back next week, of course. We've got guys out at camps all over the place. Alex Whiteman's in Columbus. Bill Curling's in Columbus. We're all over it. Steve will be in Detroit, and we'll have complete reports. Stick it here, Bucknutters.
Appreciate it, guys. Take care.